Week 5 of the Ohio high school football season is upon us, and while we've seen a couple of games canceled in the area for this week, there are still several solid games to be discussed. When we return, we'll look at these critical games along with our First Star Logistics Game of the Week. We want to thank First Star Logistics for their continued support of First Star Football Report. If you're looking for a new career, be sure to visit firststarlogistics.com as they are hiring. Hello everyone, Dave Berk, founder of First Star Football Report. This week, we'll discuss 5 games scheduled in Southwest Ohio that we feel you should keep an eye on. Before we get started, do us a favor, hit the subscribe button, help us grow this channel. Also, when you have a chance, check out firststarfootballreport.com. Did you know the oldest high school rivalry in Ohio is one in Southwest Ohio? Many don't know as to when people talk about rivalry games in the Buckeye State, they often think about Piqua and Troy or Massillon and Canton-McKinley. However, lost in this discussion is Ohio's longest rivalry, Hughes and Woodward. The two teams first played in 1878, 16 years before Massillon and McKinley first played. Hughes also has the third oldest rivalry with Walnut Hills that dates back to 1895. Both programs saw their season delayed with COVID-19 restrictions and have only played one game heading into this weekend. Woodward head coach Greg Conwell and Hughes head coach Chris Mobley led their teams to wins in their first games of the season last weekend and will continue looking to build their squads to have a strong finish. Bellbrook at Brookville. We talked about this game a few weeks ago when Bellbrook played Valley View, and both teams enter with 4-0 records looking to claim the top spot in the Southwestern Buckeye League Southwestern Division. Both teams have seen great play on both sides of the ball. For Bellbrook, senior quarterback Alex Westbrook has been solid, passing for 533 yards and 8 touchdowns with only 2 interceptions. But the play of junior running back Seth Barondi has been the difference, as the 5'11", 160-pound Barondi has rushed for 525 yards and 6 touchdowns, while adding another 157 yards receiving and 4 touchdowns. Junior offensive lineman Braden Turner has been solid, opening up holes to run through. However, the defense is why the Golden Eagles are undefeated coming into this game. They've posted 3 shutouts and given up 21 points this season. While Brookville hasn't posted a shutout on defense, they've only given up 23 points this season and not more than 1 touchdown in a game. Senior defensive lineman Trevor Lockard has 4 sacks this season, and senior linebacker Daniel Dominic is a two-way performer who also plays tight end. He has 2 interceptions on defense, but 9 receptions for 267 yards and 3 touchdowns on offense. The Blue Devils have only thrown the ball 31 times as they rely on senior running back Brennan Moore, who has rushed for 383 yards and 8 touchdowns this season. Piqua at Tippecanoe. The top spot in the Miami division of the Miami Valley League is up for grabs between Piqua and Tippecanoe. On paper, Piqua looks to have an advantage with their high-powered offense and tough defense. Piqua's offensive stars are quarterback Brady Ohl, who has completed over 70% of his throws for 590 yards and 6 touchdowns, and the running back duo of Josiah Medley and Karan Coleman. They have combined for 531 yards on the ground and 9 touchdowns. Tippecanoe quarterback Troy Taylor doesn't throw it much and has struggled when he does, hitting just over 33% of his throws. He's also shown to have a favorite target in senior receiver Nick Shirley with 3 touchdowns. The strength of both teams has been their defense. Both squads give up just over 100 yards rushing and about 115 yards passing per game with Piqua giving up an average of 7 points a game, with Tippecanoe coming in at just 13 points a game. The Red Devils are led by linebacker Cade Everhart with 59 tackles and Tyler Carlson with 31 stops. Senior defensive linemen Jarrell Lewis and Coleman are defensive leaders for Piqua with a combined 41 tackles and 5 sacks, with Coleman adding 4 forced fumbles and 2 interceptions. ClintonMassie at New Richmond. Over the past 3 seasons, ClintonMassie has been the top dog in the Southern Buckeye Athletic and Academic Conference American Division. You have to go back to 2016 for the last time New Richmond was at the top of the standings. That could change if New Richmond can knock off the Falcons on Friday night. The Lions have received solid quarterback play from senior Luke Lytle, who has passed for 781 yards and 8 touchdowns, while also rushing for 437 yards and another 8 scores. Running back Chad Tracy has added 251 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns, while senior receiver Caden Pollard is a receiving threat with 18 receptions for 336 yards and 4 touchdowns. Everyone knows to beat the Falcons, you have to stop the running game, and this year is no different, as juniors Carson Van Hoos and Carter Frank have combined for 1,143 yards and 25 touchdowns in just 4 games. Both teams have played solid defense, with the Falcons looking to be a little stronger in both phases of the game. Both teams gave up the most points to pass-happy Western Brown. New Richmond beat the Broncos 77-61, while ClintonMassie used their running game to post an impressive 86-54 win over the Broncos. Our First Star Logistics game of the week is Moeller at St Xavier in the Greater Catholic League. First Star Football Report will be in attendance as the Crusaders look to play spoiler, keeping the Bombers from winning an outright GCL title. In this crazy season, the Bombers finally get to play a home game. Unfortunately, Moeller's entire schedule has been made up of road games. Last week, Moeller made a change at quarterback to junior Noah Gesselbrack, who took his first snaps of the season with concrete results. The move allowed senior TJ Rotella to do more in the offense, and he responded with a big game with over 100 yards rushing and receiving. Someone besides Rotella needs to step forward in the Crusaders' offense. Moeller has a solid group along the offensive line, with senior Frederick Sturgis and Cincinnati Bearcats recruit Landon Fickle leading the way. However, they'll have to play a solid game to give their young quarterback a chance. While Moeller has shown the ability to move the ball on offense, they've struggled to place points on the scoreboard, with a league-low 69 total points scored this season. Defensively, Moeller started the season off playing solid, but have seen opponents have big games the last 2 weeks. Linebackers Alan Deuce Shaw II and Ivan Anderson are sure tacklers. Nate Paps and Wyatt Bullock have played solid along the line, and senior defensive back Tony Mock is the secondary stat leader. Don't be surprised if first-year head coach Mark Elder looks to get defensive reps out of Rotello as well. When we talk about St. Xavier, the question is at quarterback for the Bombers, as Brogan Mackay didn't finish last week's game against Indianapolis Cathedral. Junior Ryan Nolan came in and was solid with 158 yards passing and a touchdown. However, he also threw 2 interceptions. The loss of Max Clare in week 1 to an injury could be an issue in the future, depending upon Mackay's status. Future Penn State receiver Liam Clifford is always a threat. The question is what offensive line will show up for the Bombers. We've seen games where they've dominated and games where they've struggled. There is some top talent along the line in Cameron Collins, who picked up an offer from Central Michigan this week, and Brian Parker, who also holds offers, but they've not yet gelled as we expected as a total unit. As we always say about a Bombers team, it starts with defense. and senior linebacker Matthew Devine is the leader with 40 tackles on the season. Eli Kirk and Gabriel Du Bois lead the secondary, having combined for 49 tackles and 3 interceptions. This should be a very interesting game, and as we said, the Crusaders are looking to play spoiler and keeping the Bombers from winning the GCL outright in 2020.